Have you been offered a dry promotion lately? A step up on the job ladder, this is, without the remuneration to go with it. Shannon Barlow is Managing Director of Frog Recruitment and says a recent survey the company conducted found nearly half of the 1,000 workers surveyed reported that they or a colleague had been promoted without a salary increase. Many respondents say that leads to feelings of resentment or demotivation and had them thinking of leaving. So why are these dry promotions happening? And what is the risk, both for employers in offering them and employees, I suppose, in either turning one down or indeed taking one up? Shannon is with us now. Kia ora, Shannon.
Kia ora, Susie.
Good to have you on 9 to Noon this morning. A dry promotion. This was not a phrase perhaps that people are familiar with. Just give us the nuts and bolts of it.
Yeah, exactly. It's definitely hard keeping up with all the catchphrases over the last few years. There's been quite quitting, quite vacationing. I think the only reason that this isn't quite promotion is that they wanted to give another adjective a go. So a dry promotion, as you said, is where you're given new responsibilities or even a title, but without the pay rise that usually comes with those things.
Okay, so I guess just talk us through what some of this then means. What were respondents telling you about getting a dry promotion?
Well, I think one of the things that people ask is, a promotion without the pay rise, why would you do that? But yeah, if you look at the current climate, it does kind of make sense. So one of the big motivators this year will be job stability. So obviously it's a tough job market out there, and when you're seeing redundancies and business closures in the news, people will be really motivated to do whatever's needed to keep their job. So more willing than usual to take on an extra load in return for that job security.
So do you think
that's it.
Yeah, do you think that's something that's particularly around at the moment because of that tight job market?
Yeah, absolutely. I don't think you'd get those high levels, so nearly, nudging to that 50% of people. You wouldn't get those levels in a different type of market. People aren't going to be willing to take on the extra without the reward that comes with that.
Is it necessarily a bad thing?
No, I don't think so. I think some of the other things, and for people who have taken a dry promotion, career opportunities and training and development are some of the most important things to employees this year. So even surpassing things like work-life balance and flexible working. And 42% said having that skills development would make a dry promotion worthwhile. So I guess it's focusing on their long-term career and being able to see, okay, the money's not quite there yet, but I'm still moving forward. I'm being able to develop and focus on my long-term prospects.
I guess I can see that there would be that upside to them, but there must be some downsides too.
Yes, absolutely. So as you mentioned there, things like those feelings of resentment or demotivation or at the extreme risk of people leaving is a bit of a risk of putting these in place. And I guess that stems to communication and being transparent. So if people are given these promotions, but it's not made clear that maybe they're not setting clear expectations on when a pay rise may follow or what their long-term plans are for the individual for their career, so that, again, they are continuing to develop, then you can quickly start to feel like, well, hang on, I'm putting in all the extra work, I'm doing all these things, but, when's that going to come back around for me?
Yes, it's one of those tricky situations because especially at the moment, employees might feel they have little choice, I suppose, but to take on something like a dry promotion.
Yeah, and I think they are in that situation, and that will be why they're more willing to. But it's not, the market moves really quickly. So as always, I think you've got to focus on treating your people well and doing right by them, because even though it's an employer's market right now, we know how quickly things can change. And recently we did a poll, and nearly 60% of employers said that they'd look for another job once the employment market improves. So as we start to see that changing, you've got to make sure that you're looking after your people so that the good ones stay there.
Yeah, because what happens, I guess, when there's hopefully a bit of an upturn in the financial situation, if you've been given a dry promotion, or indeed if you're an employer that's been giving dry promotions, what would your expectations be about following up?
Yeah, well, I think you'd be expecting that that it's going to come back around to you, and your extra efforts are going to be rewarded when they are in a position to do that. And I think it's for employers, it's really important that they think of other ways that they might be able to reward those employees in the meantime, if perhaps a pay rise is off the table. So think of other benefits or things that might help that employee's situation. So things like flexible working, it might be specific training courses, again, leading to their development, other things that are of value so that they can show, we're not just taking advantage of you, we've recognised your value and what you can bring, and we do want to develop, and, hopefully the pay rise will follow when it can.
Because for employees, if something like this goes on for too long and they perhaps have more responsibility or doing more work as a result of getting this dry promotion, if you're not being rewarded, what sort of time frame seems like a reasonable one?
I think that will vary based on the individual and also the situation of the business. But again, I think that comes back to that really clear communication. So, and that you're all on the same page. So you can see that it's going to be a difficult situation if the staff member's thinking, okay, I can do this for a while, and maybe in 3 months' time I'll definitely get that raise, and their boss is thinking, okay, that might be a whole year away. Obviously, that mismatch is going to lead to a situation.
I suppose this is the situation that communication is key here, because you really want to avoid any kind of resentment or demotivation. Even if the job market is tight, people might not leave, but they might not really want to stay.
Yeah, exactly.
And so what would your advice be if someone's being offered one of these dry promotions, particularly if they're perhaps not that keen?
Sure. So I think again, speaking with your manager and really talking through the situation, finding out those parameters. Is this something that we're thinking of 3 months, 6 months, 9 months, forevermore? And working out whether that's something that they're comfortable with, and also kind of negotiating those other benefits or value points, things that are important to them. So again, if money's not on the table, maybe it's around their involvement in different groups or extra flexibility. So, the flexible working is still really important. So, there definitely has to be that give and take, and so that you can work out, try as much as possible to make it a win-win for both.
Is this also a good thing to make sure you've got everything in writing on this?
Yeah, absolutely. Any changes in your employment situation, or I guess that the terms of your employment needs to be in writing for both parties, so that you can, again, so it's clear, it's an agreement. And again, if there's any of those time frames, perhaps it's for a review at a particular time, so that it's set there and so that you don't get into trouble.
Shannon Barlow of Frog Recruitment, thanks so much for talking us through that. Dry promotions.